Hey, welcome back to MGM, a great place for casual gaming. My name is Jimmy, and today we're going to talk about the game that I have been waiting for Games Workshop to remake. Now, we've seen Games Workshop re-release a lot of games. One of them, released in 1995, had a reboot in 2017, and I didn't even really find it until 2020, and it has been a game that I've been extremely passionate about ever since. That, of course, is Necromunda. We've also seen new editions and re-releases of other games, including Space Hulk, Blood Bowl, Aeronautica Imperialis, Epic appears to be coming for 30K, and numerous others. But the game that I'm talking about today is one that has an extremely passionate fan base. One probably even more so than when it was launched back in 1999. It was a game that fit a world narrative of the whole Y2K change and the upcoming apocalypse, and was developed 500 years before Warhammer Fantasy on that timeline. A twin-tailed comet appeared in the sky with the impending doom of the capital of Ostermark. I'm talking none other than Mordheim. Now, I have been patiently waiting for Mordheim to re-release, secretly hoping that each year would be the year that they decide to release a new edition of Mordheim. This video isn't so much about the history of Mordheim, but I did see a really good video over the last week or so from Jordan Sorcery. I'm going to put a link down in the description below if you would like to visit that after watching this video. I encourage you to do so because he does a fantastic job laying out the groundwork and the history of Mordheim. For me, Mordheim is that game that I have always wanted to play. However, I do feel that the rules, based on today's standards, are a little antiquated, but that is what gives it some charm. Unlike the vast majority of players out there that lean more towards the sci-fi Warhammer 40K universe, when I was young, I was more drawn to Warhammer Fantasy. The thought of cavalry thundering down on infantry with spears and clashing of swords and shields really just got my imagination going. Now, many of you know I'm a very passionate fan of Necromunda. I do play a lot of it on the channel, and it's probably my favorite game at this time. The fantasy element of Mordheim has always been interesting to me because Necromunda and Mordheim tend to share the same platform, if you will, which is all based around narrative gameplay, and that is all that I'm about. It's kind of interesting reading a little bit of the lore of Mordheim as the twin-tailed comet approached the year before. Farmers abandoned their fields, artisans abandoned their professions, and everybody went into the city of Mordheim where the comet hit and it took out the majority of the population. The narrative sets up with your war bands coming from far and wide, representing various factions, and these mercenaries are after the Weirdstone that the comet has left behind, and this is extremely valuable and something worth fighting over. The only thing that has kept me from playing Mordheim is I would almost have to relearn some things that I unlearned, as the mechanics are kind of very traditional as to what Games Workshop used to be. That said, I do not feel it would be very difficult to bring Mordheim up to the current state of rules to which we are all used to and game with, while leaving the core experience intact. Now, talking about the core experience of Mordheim, based on the passion from the community that I have seen, that is something that I believe must stay intact. In talking to some folks that played N95, which was the initial launch of Necromunda, they have been very pleased, for the most part, with the changes that the 2017 re-release had brought. I feel Mordheim could easily fit into this mold with some simple stat changes. So if you have a very good initiative, it would be like a 3+. Your ballistic skill would be 3 or 4+, versus looking at the old table. And the old table, if you're unfamiliar with that, would be if you had a ballistic skill of 4, then you actually hit on a 3. For initiative tests as well, if you had an initiative of 5, that was a very good initiative, and you were actually trying to roll lower than that number to successfully pass that test, and you just simply reverse those two, making it maybe a 2 or a 3, and you're trying to get a 2 or a 3 plus in order to beat the initiative. There would also need to be some changes with how we work close combat. In the old ways, you would compare weapon skills between two fighters, cross-reference them on a table, and find out what you needed to hit. That was also determined on who fought first was by initiative. So let's say that both fighters had a weapon skill of 4. That means that they were the same, and they would therefore hit on 4s. I feel that a lot of these stat changes, maybe throw in a curveball, something maybe like Necromunda does with alternating activations, and I feel like that it is prime for a very good relaunch while keeping the core experience of Mordheim intact. What really brings Mordheim to life is through the narrative that you can tell from battle to battle, the campaigns that you can run, and it's very similar to Necromunda in these aspects. Another thing that would need to be kept true to the core game of Mordheim would be the art and themes. Now, there were several people that worked on this game, but the artistic style came from John Blanche. Now, John depicted Mordheim as a place that was the grimmest of dark, and you can see that in a lot of his illustrations. The way that he brought his vision for Mordheim to life still lives through today, and the way that people paint miniatures in the grimdark style, often referred to as Blanchitsu. Now, John has since retired from Games Workshop, but I think it would be amazing to pay tribute to him moving forward, maybe if Mordheim got a 25th year anniversary re-release, which, oh by the way, would be in 2024. Now, I know absolutely nothing about Games Workshop's release schedule, but I think that this could be such a home run with a little bit of modernization of the rules, but bringing that forward, keeping the core gameplay, the artwork, the setting, and the themes intact. Just the other day, I was looking at the new Cities of Sigmar range, and I couldn't help but think how good they would look on a Mordheim board. Mordheim has been kept alive by passionate fans across the world. It's the creativity from the community that continues to push this game forward, even more so than it was 24 years ago. As someone who has been patiently waiting for a re-release, I think it's time to party like it's 1999. I am actively working on some 3D prints to help build a board, and I am going to look forward to bringing you some Mordheim on the channel in the future. I'd be curious to know your thoughts on Mordheim. Have you ever played? Feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts. Do you think 2024 could be the year that Mordheim gets a re-release? I certainly hope so. I'd like to thank you so much for watching this video. Channel supporters, your names are flashing on the screen now. There are several ways that you can support the channel if you choose to do so. I always say if you've watched the video this far, you've done more than enough to support my channel. Links will be down in the description below. We will see you in the next one. Take care.